set. I'll walk around.
Yep, I just got the notification for breakdown. I'll go tweet this out.
Alright, check. Voices. So yours sounds good. So yours sounds good.
There we
Sound
go.
all right too.
Yes, it did.
All right. Fucking I go ahead and elect my own. Notification bell is on. Talked to my dad about this, right? He's like, "You guys are still doing the same book series?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, how do you have that much to talk about?" I was like, "That's kind of commonplace for this kind of a podcast.
Yeah.
To break things down way further than they ever needed to be,
Yeah,
and to spend a fucking shit ton and give a whole bunch of content out there, you know."
absolutely. There's that one. All right.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys fast forward through all the nonsense, but if not, we're about to start. So
Stream starts now.
yes. And welcome back to Redacted Media. We're bringing the content as long as you mind your motherfucking business, all right? And we're back here with another breakdown of Stephen King's magnum opus, Dark Tower. We are on book 5, Wolves of the Calla, episode 4.
We're going over chapters 3 and 4 of section 2, Telling Tales.
Yes. Basically just learning about Callahan. That's if you've read the books or you're reading the books, that's where we're at. We're gonna learn about the old feller a little bit. Last episode we had a short one, and this one is kind of no different. So we have a little special surprise coming later.
Yeah.
That should be a good time. So I am Redacted and or Alarmer, and
I am Jake.
And that's Jake. You guys are new here. Go ahead and like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, all that. Click the link in the bio. Join our Discord. Try to be more active on there every day. Can only get better. If you are live or maybe not live, come in live and contribute to the show, because as the one with the equipment does not make me good. Just because I have the ability to make stuff out, y'all can make it better, and I appreciate that whenever we have people stop by. So
we love you.
We can jump right into this chapter. And did you want to give the kids a breakdown?
Yeah, I've got chapter 3, The Priest's Tale, parentheses, New York.
Yeah.
So, Callahan begins to tell his story, starting off with a recap of the end of Salem's Lot. He squares off against what is called a Type 1 vampire and loses. The vampire forces Callahan to drink some of his blood and then sends him on his way. Callahan thinks he's going to turn, but instead he is just kind of ruined as well in his own way. He's rejected by God. He has a constant taste of metal and onions in his mouth, and he sees everything as muted and dull colors except for red, of course. He can also sense a faint aura-like glow around the weakest type of vampires and their victims. So he runs away from Salem's Lot and flees to New York and begins working at a homeless shelter called Home, run by a man named Lupe. Callahan and Lupe begin to fall for each other after months of working side by side. One day, Callahan can see the glow around Lupe's neck and knows that he's been attacked. This spurs Callahan to become a vampire hunter, first killing off the vampire who was feeding on his man. After Lupe dies, Callahan starts seeing signs that he is being hunted by agents of the Crimson King and knows he needs to get the hell out.
That's a good synopsis. I like that.
Thank you.
That's a good one. I want to start off with I think that King might be at his best writing whenever he's talking about alcoholism.
Yeah.
I think that might be just his wheelhouse, and he's so fucking good at it. I love any character that he has that's an alcoholic. He seems to really do well writing those characters.
Yeah. Yeah. Any type of addiction, like I mean, obviously we know that he has had issues with that himself pretty heavily,
Mm-hmm.
and so he's definitely speaking from experience. And there's a lot of really good lines in here about that.
Speaking of really good lines, I have basically a paragraph highlighted. I was gonna go ahead and read live just for us to reflect on because it struck me while I was reading how good it was. And it was, how could you spend how could you spend the morning puking and the afternoon believing you were having a spiritual crisis? Yet he had, and the superiors had, possibly because more than a few of them were having their own problems with the magic elephant. Callahan began thinking that a similar church, a rural parish, would put him back in the touch with God himself. And so, in the spring of 1969, he found himself in New England again, northern New England this time. He had it set up his shop, bag and baggage, crucifix, and chasuble, in the pleasant little town of Jerusalem's Lot, Maine. And then, shit, there he had finally met real evil, looked it in the face, and flinched. Badass. That should be the opening for Salem's Lot, honestly.
That was a really good line.
Yes, I was like, holy shit, that's amazing. That's why I really liked Callahan just while reading Salem's Lot. He's one of my favorite King characters. I was really happy. Well, I knew of him in this before I ever read Salem's Lot. I was like, yeah, this is a good one to bring back. I like him a lot.
Imagine, like, the only thing you know about King is the Dark Tower, though. I was just kind of thinking about that while reading this. I was like, this whole thing would feel so out of left field and so weird if you did not know that this was another book.
Oh,
somehow.
here's just a guy that has all this fucking rich backstory that he just
Like,
threw
there's
in and
all these vampires. And one thing I put down in my notes is, like, so he comes up with, like, the 3 types of vampires. There's type 1, type 2, and type 3. There's, like, a whole system for them. And I felt that was really interesting because he comes up with these definitions during his time in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, so this couldn't have been in Salem's Lot. And so we're getting, like, this whole, like, breakdown of, like, how the vampire system works and everything, just for his flashbacks.
Just for his flashbacks, yeah. And
I was like, I can't imagine, it sticks around much longer than that.
No, it really does. I mean, there's whatever. I'm not gonna spoil anything.
Yeah.
But they knew in Salem's Lot that the big bad guy was, like, the original vampire. He's the bad guy that they have to kill in order to stop it, right?
He's the Dracula, basically.
Yes, basically is what it is. And then he has his underlings and people that they didn't really introduce, like the type 1 vampires that were just like regular ass people. But yeah, they do a lot of it there, and I'm happy we get to revisit it. It's a good time. It fits pretty well into the Dark Tower, honestly. And what a book to bring him back in.
Yeah. This whole thing has just made me want to read. Go and read Salem's Lot.
Yeah, it's a second book. So.
Oh, really? Like,
yes,
second ever?
Yes. So
Wow.
It's the first one after. Like, his first 3 were Carrie, Salem's Lot, and The Shining. Like, came out fucking swinging.
Damn, yeah. All right.
So, but Salem's Lot does have, it misses some parts of it, and it's very dated. You could tell it was written in the 70s.
Yeah.
And so you have to kind of take that with a grain of salt while you're reading it. And there's he does the whole author insert thing where it's not really him, but it's him. He's the main character, and it's like,
oh yeah,
you know.
Yeah. That's one thing I wrote down about. So the main character of Salem's Lot, we talked about him for a little bit. His name is Ben Mears, and his romantic interest is Susan Norton.
Yeah.
And so this made me think, like, okay, is there like a thing with Stephen King and Susan? So I did a little bit of research, not enough to give myself any spoilers, but it's a name that he uses a hell of a lot.
It does happen quite a few. Now I'm thinking of it.
So I wrote down some other examples. You know, there's Susan Delgado, there's Susanna here, there's Susan Norton in Salem's Lot.
Yep.
There's also a Susan in The Stand.
Yep.
There's a Susan in It. There's a Susan in Insomnia. There's a Susan in Carrie.
Okay.
I didn't write down more examples, but people in, like, a Reddit thread I was looking through were like, yeah, it's probably one of his most used names.
That's really interesting. I've never thought about it like that.
That and I think Bill was the other one.
Hey, there's a lot of people named Bill
Yeah.
in his works for sure. Bill and Susan, just good all American names. I I mentioned in previous episodes that the reason why I find like Callahan is such a interesting character is never you have somebody whose faith is faltering. That's kind of a cool concept, anyways. But whenever it's somebody who or their faith shouldn't be faltering,
Yeah.
they're a fucking priest. Like, no, you should be the one that has this resolve and an
Yeah.
unyielding ability to have faith. And I like the line they had right in here where it was he's talking about. I went to his house with the considerable power my church affords, the cross, the stole, the holy water, and of course the Bible. But I'd come to think of these things as symbols, and that was my Achilles heel. He doesn't even believe in the true, not true, but whatever, the power, if it was against real evil, the whole lore behind vampires
Right. Yeah.
that you need it. And we see that it actually works. He has a moment where the cross that he's holding, it glows.
Yeah. He's like glowing with like divine energy.
Yeah,
Like,
and he's
about
like,
to bust out some paladin shit.
I knew in that moment I could destroy him. Is what he says. Like, holy shit, like that's fucking awesome. That's it. And what makes it so cool is that he can't. So he had all this power, and he even at that point he still has doubts.
Yeah.
Still has doubts about his faith. Still has doubts about what he is. It's like, damn, that's a fucking tragic character right there.
Yeah.
Just
So as someone who's read Salem's Lot, what point did Salem's Lot end in here, and like it start with
the last time you see Callahan is him getting on the bus.
Okay, so we get to see him like go to the church, get his hand burnt and everything, and then okay,
because they follow him a little bit, and he's really a. If there's a main group in Salem's Lot of like 5 or 6, he's not even in that. He's like such a minor character.
Really,
he has point of view chapters, but he doesn't use him. Like there's like a doctor, the author, the girl, the boy, and like 2 others I'm kind of forgetting that are really the main quartet of that story.
Yeah.
And yeah, you kind of just you leave him to go on his way. He's sitting there, and the town's going to shit because it all happens in a night. I believe it's like it. The first one comes, he turns, and then after the first night, there's like 20 vampires around. And then that next night is the last night that Salem's Lot exists.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, I've picked up a little bit of the story that like it's a story where the good guys don't win in the end. Like, everybody loses, and then you see what was it, Ben and the little kid go back later to burn the town down.
Yep.
But we don't know if that was successful or not.
No, we haven't. I mean, they even have like reports of shit happening in other parts of Maine. Like it's a virus that's spread.
Yeah.
I think that I really don't even remember if they are able to kill the main bad guy because it's not like you kill the main one and they all just topple over dead.
Right.
Like, there's no more type 3, type 1, but I forget which way the order goes.
Yeah, type 1 is like your big boss vampires, like your Draculas, your Dios that like they can pretty much act like a normal person, but they also drink blood and can turn people.
Yeah.
And then type 2s were like the almost like brainless vampires that are stronger and can turn people, but they're kind of brain dead and dumb.
Yeah.
Almost like zombie like almost, but fast and strong.
Yeah.
And then type 3s are like kind of like the type 1s in that they're able to like act like normal people, and they still retain their brain, and they drink blood, but they don't turn people.
Yeah, they just kind of they can also get their sustenance from food, right? That was they can survive without being a fucking vamp,
Yeah. And a lot of times throughout here, Callahan will refer to them as like mosquitoes, the type 3s. He's like, they suck, but they're not really like getting rid of them won't solve anything.
No, they're just pests.
Yeah.
So you said you did this with audiobook, right?
Yeah, I kind of slacked with reading this week, so I jumped on the audiobook to get it in faster.
I feel that I did a lot of it this morning on audiobook actually because I've been so damn busy. But what I did remember from reading this book before in the audiobook multiple times, that we have passages pulled directly from Salem's Lot.
Oh, really?
Yes. Everything here that's in italics is the exact text.
Oh, that's really
Salem's
cool.
Lot. Yeah. So I was like, That's bad at him telling the story whenever they launch into like first person. That's just the text. That's what it was. So
That's another thing I really liked about this section is that like as he's telling the story, like the little like you know, section breaks within the chapters,
mm-hmm.
it'd kind of like jump back and forth between like you're in the story and then like we'd go back to like Eddie and Susanna
Mm-hmm.
like making comments on what he was saying and him giving a little bit more context.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd jump back to like a narration style.
Yeah,
It felt really like how you'd see a flashback in like a TV show.
for sure. Yeah, where you jump
Like
back and they'd be
some of the things I could see just being like straight up scene transitions. Like we'd focus on something and then we'd focus out and it'd be back to like the other world or whatever.
mm-hmm. Especially whenever the right here whenever he ends his struggle with Barlow and his last thought is God, I need a drink. Right?
Yeah. Oh, I liked that part a lot.
Man, it's so good. So good. And they jump back to Eddie and Roland for a bit, and Callahan's like, be careful what you pray for, because you just might get it. And then they jump right back into, oh yes, I got my drink.
Yeah, and
that's when you jump into Barlow fucking feeding him. It's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. The worst.
Also, the way that he describes the taste that's like constantly in his mouth
Mm-hmm.
is hot metal and onions.
Terrible.
Yeah. Ugh.
This is not a good one. Yeah. I've never I think there's a story that could be told here with characters similar to these of an alcoholic and vampirism
Yeah.
that could be very interesting that I don't think
absolutely.
is necessarily hit on as well here.
Yeah.
Like it is. I love the concept, but it's like you could go so much further in the similarities there between God. You can imagine like an AA for fucking vampires.
You're right. Yeah. Also, going back to like his story in New York,
Mm-hmm.
bisexual king.
Yes, for
Hell
sure.
yeah. And I was kind of worried about it as we were first getting into it because I was
Mhm.
like, I don't know about Stephen King writing this, but like,
Mm-hmm.
no, it's handled really well. Like, it's obviously like old man from the 70s. I think that's when he left, but it's like he's kind of questioning like, what does this mean for me that
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't right out say I'm, he's not right out like, oh yes, I am bisexual, but he's like, well, I'm not gay because I still like women,
Yeah.
but I loved him.
Yeah, he's like, we loved each other. I'm like, does that make me slur? Does that make me whatever? It's like, yeah, I don't know. It was a cool way to think of it. I think it was even this book was written in 99. So,
yeah.
like,
And he was just kind of trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I liked how he was like, and it wasn't just that I loved him because of all the amazing things he was doing. It's like that man was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I was like, hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like it was really sweet.
And I think that like as little as we get of Callahan in Salem's Lot and in the Dark Tower, because he hasn't been in the first 4 books. He could be all the way to the tower from here on out, but we wouldn't get as much as we did other characters.
Right? Yeah.
That the little bit that he gets, I think, is all like A+ work. That King just writes him well. That's why I'm so interested in this character. I think it's one that we'll get to later. Screen adaptation, you got to have a really good person that may only be in there for a season or 2.
Yeah.
Depending on how they handle everything. But
right.
Yeah.
Another thing so they talk about home, the shelter that he's staying at and working at.
Mm-hmm.
And they note that is just like a couple blocks away from where the Rose Lot would be.
Yep.
And then once he is, starting to decide like, okay, I want to kill me some vampires now that they've started messing with my life. He's realizing that he's also being hunted by agents of the Crimson King. And I can't remember the word that they use for him, but he finds out like how they're communicating, and it's through like missing pet posters. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like you start seeing these missing pet posters put up everywhere, and notices like they're not talking about an animal. All these things are about me. Like they say something like, "Oh, his left front paw is burned. He's got mangy white fur.
Yeah.
I think his name is something close to Callahan, but
yeah."
And I was like, that's fucking cool. Like
Yeah.
that's clever.
Yeah, it was a badass little thing to include there. I know. They talked about the Hitler brothers a little bit in this chapter, right?
Yeah, so there is a gang in New York around this time called the Hitler Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they are running around doing violent hate crimes and carving like swastikas into people's foreheads. They're all their victims. Um, and we don't get the full story on this yet, but we do get told that Callahan has a like cross carved into his forehead.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, they actually did attack me at one point, but got stopped before they could make it a full swastika.
So the cross on his head isn't even a religious symbol. It just kind of looks like one.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's we'll get to that later. I think but we'll talk about that at a later date. But yeah, it's a cool one.
Yeah.
Another just an interesting fucking character, man. I love Callahan so much.
And he talks about this bridge that he's thinking about passing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get more on that in the next chapter.
Mm-hmm.
But on the bridge, there's a sign that says "Bicentennial repairs completed 1975 by Lemerck Industries."
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, Lemerck Industries, right?
Yeah.
Did you have something next we could jump into? The next part of this chapter, because we can't be done with it already, right?
That was chapter 3. I've got chapter 4 still as well.
Let's do it.
All right, chapter 4 summary.
Oh, the next chapter. Sure, wait. So, I thought you meant like a mini chapter 3. Like, wait,
Gotcha.
We have that the metal road leading up the carousel of the toy train and the metal road. What is this? Go ahead. Well, I had something else to say here, but I don't remember where exactly they are. Whenever they just have some graffiti that says "Watch out for the walking dude" and "All hail the Crimson King."
Oh, I thought that was just them remembering the graffiti that they saw.
The walking dude. Have we discussed that?
Yeah. Because when they were going on the road out of Topeka, they saw a sign.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm remembering. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The walking dude, Randall Flagg, Crimson King, big baddie that we haven't met yet. So
yeah.
All right. Chapter 4.
Chapter 4: The Priest's Tale Continued. Summary. Callahan crosses a bridge from New York to New Jersey, crossing simultaneously into a new world as well. He gets a job at a diner and realizes each day that he is waking up in a slightly different version of the world. After a few weeks, he begins to get restless and moves on. He wanders for about 5 years, skipping over most of that part of the story, but letting us know that he is killing vampires and jumping realities constantly all the while.
Mm-hmm.
One day, while on a break from the daily job, he sees a newspaper article detailing a dear friend who is on the verge of death following attack by the Hitler brothers, and decides to stop running, and he heads back for New York. Before he can finish his story, however, Rosalita returns with the twins who have finished Roland's map. Roland decides that he and Callahan should go into the church together and look at Black 13. They enter the church and get really dang spooked. The orb is under the floor, in a bag, in a box. Roland does decide to look at it, but not use it now, and tells Callahan that they will be taking it soon. Too soon. So yeah, we get kind of some stories of Callahan roaming the country.
Yeah.
He's kind of like hitchhiking and walking his way through, getting like menial labor jobs and riding with them to like the new work site or whatever, and then after working with them for a little bit, taking off and leaving again.
Just living the life.
Yeah, he's just kind of old man on the run / wandering.
Yeah, he's the walking dude, really.
Oh shit.
But yeah, definitely.
That'd be a hell of a twist.
Can we live a life like that in today's world?
Can
you be a rambler?
Not very easily.
No, I don't think so. I think that you need capital.
You have to find some people who are willing to hire under the table, because you can't use like you can't really use your job history or your social. And so just people who will pay cash for jobs.
Yeah.
Which is, that's what he's doing. But back in it said the bridge was built or repaired in 75. And he's traveling for like 5 years after that, so he's like 1980 now, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, back then it was
A little bit easier,
a little bit easier
for sure, to have that kind of life and
to just kind of disappear.
yeah, just kind of be out and be doing things and traveling the country and working odd jobs.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can necessarily do that today. Do you have anything to really discuss in this chapter that
So
we can get on?
there is one thing that I noticed that it's kind of a writing trope that King does quite often, where he doesn't he doesn't give you a lot of suspense and surprise,
Mm-hmm.
because like as they're talking, they're just like, yeah, Callahan's gonna join our party. He's gonna leave here with us.
Yeah.
If he makes it through this, he's gonna be with us.
That's why I was like, I didn't know if you had picked up on that just yet. But I was like, this guy is joining the cartel. He's from the
Yeah.
world. He's from New York, or at least that area, So
Right. And then, oh yeah, I even put on here. I was like, man, the days when you could just jump on a plane last minute without even an ID.
man,
Like when
Yeah.
he decides to go to New York, it's because he's throughout his travels like saved up a couple $100 that he's like sewed into like a false lining in the bottom of his backpack or whatever.
Yep.
And he just like gets on a plane that day, and like he can't have an ID, or if he does, definitely not one that's up to date. It'd be expired.
No.
Um,
Get on a plane and do the thing.
just and he would probably showed up there like 30 minutes before the flight took off, and then
Yeah.
left right away.
There's no TSA, hardly any security checks, probably.
Yeah.
Just like you're all right. Get in
You
there.
walk through a metal detector, and that's probably it.
Yeah. Crazy.
And one thing I noted was that after the twins give him the map, he's like, I'm going to do something that seems sacrilegious, but trust me, it's not. And like he folds the paper so he can put it in his little satchel or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, now that it is, now it's not just a piece of paper; it is a tool. So I have to, make it safe.
Take care of it as such. Yeah.
Yeah. But just like the reactions of them being like,
Yeah.
because paper is such a valued resource here. I found that just really funny.
Yeah, I think we covered like some of this chapter actually last time about the Hitler brothers and.
Well, the Hitler brothers are mentioned in both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he talks about the Hitler brothers in the first one, and then in this chapter, he says that like his friend who kind of took over home after Lupe's death, got attacked by them and like was dying in the hospital.
Yeah. Isn't that what it caused him to come back, right?
Yeah, that's why he decides to come back.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure. He sees a newspaper article one
About...
day, like basically while they're on their lunch break at a job site, and he's like, well, he doesn't know the word for Ka yet, but now that he knows it, he's like, well, it was Ka that I got that paper. And so I just knew I needed to go back.
Yeah, and he goes back, and do we get much of what happens when he goes back?
No, it basically leaves off with him getting on the plane, and then we're snap back to reality. Up there goes gravity.
Yeah, little mom spaghetti. Okay.
Roland wants, like, he specifically says that he and Callahan should be the ones to go inside, because he doesn't want Susanna to get close to Black 13.
Yeah.
And at first, Eddie's like, "What? You don't want her to have a miscarriage? Like, we don't want this thing to be born anyways. So maybe it'll be
maybe be a good one, right?"
And Roland's like, "No, you idiot! This baby's gonna be too strong. It might affect the demon somehow, or maybe this Mia might react to it.
Give us some kind of steroids.
Yeah,
baby steroids,
That also kind of fueled my little theory of like, oh, the baby might be born in this book.
Yeah,
because they are going to be taking Black 13. Yes, like Roland's even talking about like, oh, he's scared of picking it up out of the hole and putting it in that bag that Jake got. But speaking of Black 13, it is in an ironwood box, I think is what Roland called it. And it's got some stuff carved into it.
Yes.
It's got a rose, a stone, and a door carved into like the top of the box.
Yes.
I don't know what the stone's for yet, but roses and doors are super important.
A stone and a door. Interesting. Okay. Did you get it said beneath the door was this and they gave you that? I don't remember if that was in the audiobook or not. I don't know what the fuck it is. It's just like some swirls, basically.
Oh well, no, yeah, they kind of talked about like the runes, but I
Did they?
guess
Okay.
I don't. I mean, I remember that there were strange runes on it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't remember exactly how they told us that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember it being abridged or how much it is, but yeah,
Yeah,
look it up if you guys need to. It's pretty cool looking though.
yeah, they're little swirlies.
Yeah, and a leaf, a stone, a door. They had a leaf. For this
Oh
one.
yeah, that's what
Yeah,
Callahan said it was like a leaf, but Roland's
yeah.
like, no, it's a rose.
That's Rose. Yeah, wait,
Yeah,
yeah. Come on, dude. And Callahan's like begging them to take this. Like,
yeah, he's like, will you take it? Please take it.
where do you think he got this? Why the fuck is he in Colibrim Sturgis?
Right. Well, so my like working kind of like theory for how this is gonna play out
Mm-hmm.
is that like, he goes back to New York,
Yeah.
and I'm also almost kind of thinking that the friend was attacked to bring him back there because the guys are searching for him.
Yeah.
And so he might get like attacked um, or see that they're like planning to attack him and
Mm-hmm.
run. And he's been jumping through all the different versions of America.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll jump from America to Midworld.
Yeah.
Or another thought I had is that how did Jake get there the first time?
Mm-hmm.
It's because he died.
Mm-hmm.
He got hit by the car. Maybe they're gonna kill him, and he's gonna wake up at his own sort of way station.
There was a priest behind Jake. Is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Fuck, man. Holy shit. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
And when did Jake die? Do you remember when he's from?
Oh man, 60s. So
Oh,
timeline doesn't have
okay.
that. No.
But like we keep saying, time is fake anyways. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck all that. Fuck time.
As Roland's like approaching Black 13,
Mm-hmm.
he can feel like the power emanating off of it, and he can feel like the magic that is in this orb. And it's stronger than anything he has ever encountered or confronted before.
Okay.
Yeah. So like he's like this motherfucker's stronger than Walter.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is more this glass stone basically is more of a threat than the Man in Black, at least as far as he can perceive it.
And it probably also has to do a little bit with the fact that you don't know what the fuck its use is for.
Yeah.
So is it gonna affect you? Could this be like having launch codes for somebody that needs bad shit? So
Yeah.
that's probably the scary thing about it. Like Walter has.
All we really know is Toadash. Like it strongly affects Toadash and will let you Toadash.
Yes, it lets you do that, but what else could be not so great about that?
Right. Also, Roland kind of comments on it in here, but fucking insane that they're having weekly church services
With
on top
that
of this thing.
Yes, it's just right there.
And he's like, oh, I don't want it to wake up.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's insanity.
Just subjecting everybody in the Calla to whatever the fuck might happen.
Yeah.
Like, there you go. So.
But then he's also like, well, maybe everybody hanging out there and just having like positive vibes is like placating it.
I can see that. I like that. I like that theory a lot, actually, that he's trying to dampen it by sticking to his faith.
Yeah. And at one point, he hears a voice in his head. He's not sure if it's Black 13 itself talking to him or if it's something he's just imagining or something else, but it says, beware, gunslinger, beware, shaman, the abyss is all around you. You float or fall into it at my whim.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, ooh, I like that. That's kind of it telling him like, hey, I know what you're doing and I'm still in charge here.
Yeah, like, I love calling priest shamans.
Yeah, that's great.
I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, fuck you, buddy.
Also, I kind of have a thing I'm thinking about might happen next chapter.
Okay.
So before they go in there, Susanna and Eddie are like, well, if you don't come back out, how long should we wait before we go in for you?
Mm-hmm.
And Roland tells them like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're just going to go in there, look at it, and come back out, I don't think that King would have included that scene.
Mm,
So I think something weird is going to happen as they try to leave.
gotcha. Yeah.
Maybe not anything big,
Yeah.
but like I feel like that would be a weird thing for them to ask if
It's
it wasn't setting up something.
a little Chekhov's gun.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you don't include this if you don't plan to use it at least a little bit.
Right.
So, yeah. Next chapters I remember is pretty good.
Was it like Grey Dick or
The
something?
Tale of Grey Dick.
Yeah, Tale of Grey Dick.
Yeah, that guy. And you cool with discussing what I'm reading this for next week? Are you need anything else to say?
Sure. Yeah, let me pull it up.
So I'm thinking that next week we will have from chapter 5 to chapter 8. So we would only read 7. We'd read 5, 6, and 7,
5, 6, and 7.
which are all pretty short. It's only 70 pages in my book. So, but
Yeah, that could work.
yeah, pretty simple, pretty easy.
All right, chapters 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah, and we'll get to Took's store, the unfound door. So,
All right, cool.
So we're good too. So yeah, you got any like recap for this chapter before we move on to the casting side of it?
So, I think that hit all my bullet points that I had there.
Yeah.
I kind of don't know why he did a chapter break, honestly.
I don't know either.
Like, they're both relatively short chapters.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why they just weren't one. Like, because he doesn't chapter break lightly, usually.
There's a lot more in this chapter or in this book than there has been in the other books.
Yeah.
There's definitely shorter chapters in this.
In, like, the end of chapter 3 didn't really feel like the end of a chapter,
Mhm.
you know? It felt like maybe like the end of one of his like normal little numbered sections.
Yeah.
So it was just interesting.
Yeah, definitely an odd choice. I
Yeah.
see you there. I do think
Not
that,
a huge one, just like a huh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
One of those. Yeah. What was I supposed to say? Oh, I feel like the book is kind of picking up steam and getting weird again,
Yeah.
and I enjoy that.
Yeah.
That it's starting to feel you have magical orbs and vampires, and yet another guy from our world that's being thrown in, and it's a strange book because we're gonna go back and have some more Calla shit go on.
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
man just danced the Kamala.
Yeah, come Kamala. We're gonna fight like the we're gonna fight the wolves. And
Yeah,
See what all's going on there.
and maybe have a baby, maybe celebrate a birthday.
Maybe, yeah.
A little demon baby.
Maybe demon twins.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Because she does have a split personality. One's good, one's bad.
Yeah, and there's just so much twin stuff going on here.
Yeah, with the twins.
Yeah.
You got some interesting thoughts. I can't wait.
Yeah,
It's a good one.
I'm excited.
All right. That is the end of our typical side of the podcast, and we are going to jump into a dream casting for Mike Flanagan's Dark Tower.
Let's do yours first.
You do mine first? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to switch over. You guys will not be able to see our beautiful faces anymore. You're instead going to see these
Sorry.
amazing PowerPoint shows that we have created just for you. Okay? Let's check. Hold up.
Are we back?
Yeah, we're back here. We're back here, and you can see our beautiful faces. I
I'll
can't
picture it.
read that. I need to go. Where's desktop? I gotta get up.
Too far away.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Can't see. Blind guy. Just go this on. Display capture. Bam. We'll go to that one. There we go. We will. There we go. Display capture is there. Okay. All right. Now we should have the ability to talk and discuss this. So, I started off with basically the main like 6 in the content, right?
Okay.
So I started with Roland, main character basically of the show. I have to get out of the way. Pedro Pascal's number 1.
Right on. Okay.
Like I think I heard that and I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. That's one of the best ones.
And it's looking kind of likely because Flanagan the other day, tweeted a picture of them together.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, it's looking likely.
I think that if they get him, that the draw for this show might actually turn into something big.
Yeah.
that this could really be like, oh,
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would absolutely draw a lot of people.
yeah, and
Like he's what drew me to even being interested in The Last of Us.
yes.
Um, and speaking of, since we talked last week, I've watched the first 2 episodes.
Oh, okay.
I started the third, but then
It got too gay for you, right?
actually I didn't even get to that yet. Like that's how early into the third I am.
Yeah. You're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I was like, none of that crap on my good TV.
That's definitely
No,
Jake.
I was watching it at work and stuff came up, so I had to stop watching TV and had to actually work.
Yeah. Imagine having to actually
Lame.
work, right? So I did like 3 per, just because I had a whole bunch of
Oh,
options.
okay.
Right. I did like, maybe some of them are funny, some of them are. I'll explain it as I go. So the next one that I have, and I think this one works decently well. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, aka
Okay.
Negan from The Walking Dead.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
I need Roland to be grizzled, and I'm all right with everybody else in the show not really being. And we'll get to more of that later.
Yeah.
But from Midworld, I think he would be a good one. I think that he could play an asshole pretty damn well,
Oh, absolutely.
and he has a good draw that he could really, I think, put on that make some of this interesting. you
Yeah.
know? So I think that'd be a good one. And my last one for Roland is Carl Urban, Billy Butcher from The Boys.
Okay.
And that's really just the outfits that he wears in the show. I mean, the picture I show, if you guys are watching on YouTube, that he's in a, like a overcoat. You know, I'm like, okay, I don't know how his accent could be, but even fuck it, give him a goddamn Australian accent. I
Yeah.
don't care.
That's so. I was looking online, just kind of like because there's some characters I was having a hard time with.
Yeah.
So I kind of looked to see like just other people's opinions.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were saying Timothy Oliphant as Roland, and
Yeah.
I was like, I know he did that Deadwood show for a while,
Yeah,
but he doesn't seem like a Roland type to me.
I
I love that man to death, but like,
it's sometimes the characters, it's like that doesn't sound right, you know.
right, like,
And that's where I went with these 3. I think it's just the
I think any of these would be a solid choice.
vibes.
Yeah.
They're just there. Like, okay, I can see these being Roland. So, okay, I'm down with this. So the next one that I did was Eddie Dean, of course, because he is our main character too. And
Yeah.
at me if you think otherwise. And the first one is a dream casting that's been around for the last decade, and it's not even my idea, but Aaron Paul.
Okay.
They've had this idea floating amongst the zeitgeist of Dark Tower fandom for literally since he came on Breaking Bad. And you'd have to do some aging up in either Eddie's story or age him down, you know, with whatever you could do with Hollywood magic.
Yeah.
But just
Even then, he's still a young dude. Like,
he's not old. He's
Yeah.
just not, because, you know, Eddie's like 22.
right? Yeah.
It don't make no fucking sense. Eddie shouldn't be no goddamn 22. He's a baby.
Yeah.
It's a little baby.
Little baby man.
Come on now. And the next one I have, his most recent performance might like take us out of it, but I was looking for somebody that could do both comedy and be a little serious.
Yeah.
So I think you need to have somebody that is funny. So Miles Teller as Eddie.
Okay.
I was like, maybe this is just a shot in the dark. I know after Top Gun, he's all huge and jacked. I was
Oh,
like,
I haven't seen Top Gun yet, so I've heard.
Okay.
I didn't even know he was in there.
yeah,
Interesting.
he's Goose's son. So
Okay.
yeah. And I don't know. I like Miles Teller. He's been in comedies. He's shown some serious chops. and
Yeah,
other
no,
things, so.
That's not a bad choice for sure.
And then my last one for Eddie was Donald Glover.
Oh.
Shot in the dark.
Oh.
I just threw it out there. I was like, I think he'd be a really good fucking Eddie Dean.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
Like I said, I was like a comedian. I was like, that have serious acting chops. I was like, Donald Glover can give you the Eddie side of that for sure.
Oh, 100%.
I don't know how his New York accent is. I've heard him
Yeah.
in Atlanta's accent. But, you know, after having him being kind of the weird goofball on Community and then his other stuff that he's been in, I'm like, yeah, this would be really fun. It'd be they couldn't call him white bread, but
Yeah, but you know,
it's one line. You know,
Yeah.
I don't really.
that's
get
not
that.
the most important part.
And
for sure.
did you run into? Oh my god, how many people are just fucking racist online that are like, oh, the book's pretty clear about how Roland looks. You can't be using Pedro Pascal. I'm like, he could probably be white passing if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
If his name wasn't fucking Pedro,
Yeah.
you could call him white passing.
Yeah. And
It's like
like,
if it's that big of a fucking deal to you, or you're just
Right.
racist. you
Yeah.
know? Save everybody a lot of time and just put that shit in your bio.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my 3 for Eddie. And who do I jump to next? Jake Chambers.
Okay.
So
This is one I had a hard time with. I'm
I
interested.
said this feels weird.
Yeah, sure did.
And I was like, okay, so if I'm gonna have, I don't even know the names of child actors, let alone watch a whole bunch of child stars, right?
Yeah.
But I did think of the little kid in It, not the main Losers Club, but the kid that dies in the beginning, Jackson Robert Scott.
Okay.
Kind of has
He
a
looks
Jake
familiar,
look
yeah.
to him.
Yeah.
He's a little kid that died. He's a Georgie, the one
Yeah.
that looks in the sewer.
Okay.
So I was like, that's my only one for Jake because I think a child actor is a child actor. You're just going to get somebody that's decent. I think a lot of people can play the role of Jake Chambers just
Yeah.
by being a kid, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the only one that I have for this. Susanna Dean. This one I've one that I've liked and I've heard also other shows go into, and the other two I just kind of picked based on look. So I could not be a casting director because I don't watch near enough shit. My first one is Denai Guerra, Michonne from The Walking Dead.
Oh, okay.
So
She's awesome.
she's great, and she's
Yeah.
a badass.
Yeah.
So you could have that flip to mid-world badass Susanna. You could doll her up for the scenes on the beach, you know, and everything.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was any like African American actresses without legs. I was like,
I-
if you could get somebody to play a disabled character, I'm gonna do that if they're solid acting choice.
I did try to look up like quadriplegic actors
Yeah.
and stuff, but I could not really find like good resources or lists for that.
Yes. But I had her, and then I have two more that, like I said, I just picked on overall look. Kiersey Clemens, I don't know what she's been in, but she looks like she could be a. Odetta. Odetta's a nice one, right? Where if she can act and pull off the nasty, ugly ones, like she looks kind of up. God, uppity is a terrible word, but just like prim and proper. is
Yeah,
what I
like
meant, you know?
fancy.
Yes, and then lastly, I had Tiana Paris, which just again it was just based on look. I was like, okay, this girl's been in some stuff. I haven't seen much of it, but it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
My next one is Randall Flagg, the Man in Black, Walter O'Dim, however you want to look at him. 2 G's on that. All right. Shot in the dark, Bill Hader. Just because I want him to not look like he belongs in Midworld.
Yeah.
And they say he's attractive to people there, and I think that he could get the weirdness of Walter O'Dim.
Yeah. Okay.
Shot in the dark here. Like I said, these I went wild on the Randall Flagg ones because like, okay, I need to have this just be a weird character that could also get people to like him as well as Roland. If they're gonna have Roland be a sack of shit in season 1 and have him chasing down a guy, I think you might honestly root for the Man in Black for a little bit.
I kind of had like a similar thought process. Is like I wanted somebody who could be goofy, but could also be an asshole.
And have you seen It Chapter 2?
Yeah.
Okay. His performance in that
He was really good.
Was very impressive because if he could be goofy and weird and strange, but also then be very dramatic in a lot of those scenes where I don't know, I thought he did well. I don't know how he do as a Flag, but this is my first one. My next one was Cillian Murphy because he's like one of my top 5 favorite actors. I loved him, and even back to 28 Days Later. He's amazing. He's one of my favorite. And I'm kind of going with like a similar look here. So I was just going with these.
Yeah.
When I was thinking Randall Flagg, that it doesn't have to be, they shouldn't look like they're from Midworld. They should be strange in a room full of fucking townies in Lud. I think they should stand out. So I was going with that too. And my last one was Ewan McGregor.
That would be so cool.
I think he could fucking kill it. I think he could fucking kill it.
I want to see him in more things anyways. So
And
like, absolutely.
That's just going on his look. I think that he has the look to be.
He's got the chops for it as well.
Yes,
like, he's good.
that too. Yeah. I'm like, give him all the roles.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
Could you imagine a cast list of Pedro Pascal and Ewan McGregor? And just like, oh my God, what the fuck is this show?
Right?
Yeah, that'd be oh God. They'd have to write Man in Black into like more of season 2, season 3, I think. Have him maybe like haunting Roland.
Yeah.
Or something would be.
You know what I just thought of that I think would be just great because of who we've thought of as for Roland. What if they put like Oscar Isaac as Randall Flagg? Just because like the chemistry that those two have on screen already, like and I think that they could play off of each other really well.
Okay.
That's not who I put because I just now thought of it, but
why could I not? What has he been in, Oscar Isaac? What am I? I'm drawing a blank on here.
Unfortunately, Palpatine has returned. He was Poe.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think that he was in freaking Star Wars. But anyways, okay. The biggest role, but my voice of Oi, I ended up casting, and I think there's like a no-brainer here if you're anywhere kind of a nerd, and that choice is Mark Hamill, right?
That would be cool.
Like just if you're gonna get a voice actor to do absolutely nothing, let's do it.
I kind of had that same thought. I'm gonna wait for your other characters though,
Okay.
just in case.
So my next one, this is a shot in the dark, which is more just because he makes some cameos in some adaptations of his movies or books, and that would be Cy King. To have him voice Oi.
Okay.
I think that'd be hilarious. It'd be great. I mean, I don't know how much you could get out of him or how well he would be, but he does audiobooks and shit, so has at least some experience in voice acting.
Yeah.
And who better to make the sound of the dog that he made up than the man himself? You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And the last one, I don't even remember who it was. Oh, Andy Serkis. I was like,
Oh man.
fuck. Well, he's a recognizable dude, but I thought I'd put up what his most famous role is. You know.
That's really funny.
I was like, might as well, right? Like, I think that'd be a good one.
An honorable mention for Oi because he's not who I put.
Yeah.
We had texted about this one actually a little bit. Again, like just being like kind of a character who doesn't say a lot of words. He's voiced a few of these. Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk, who's he voiced?
He was the chicken in Moana.
Oh yeah. So, do we want to mention the joke casting that I said that pissed you off for Oi?
Oh fuck, I forgot what it was. So yes,
Justin Roiland.
Oh God.
Oh no, it'd be the worst.
God.
No. Like,
even like
before
all
the
that.
bad shit. I don't want to hear fucking Morty.
Yeah. Even before all that, I would have been like, ah,
Yuck.
that's fantastic.
I didn't want to put. I guess I'll get to yours before I say like anything. Oh, forgot Father Callahan.
Okay, hell yeah.
So there's a theme here, and I want to see if you pick up on it. Because my first one is Ian Glenn from Game of Thrones, who was Khaleesi's like bodyguard.
Okay.
Have you seen Game of Thrones? You
Yeah.
know? Okay. Yeah.
I haven't watched House of Dragons yet, but I did watch all of Game of Thrones.
I probably won't watch House of Dragons.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. But I liked him in that, and he kind of look with him.
Yeah, he was great.
And my next one was John Benjamin Hickey. And so I don't know if you know him, but they're coming out with the Salem's Lot series. And he is who
I did hear about that, yeah.
he is Father Callahan.
Okay.
In that. So if you could have some continuity using the same actor playing the same role,
That would be dope.
I think that's awesome. That's why I had to put him in here. I was like, who is playing him? You know, if whomever it is. And I'm sticking with the Game of Thrones theme. My last one, the Onion Knight himself, Liam Cunningham.
Oh, I like that idea a lot.
I do too. That's probably my favorite one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, man.
He was one of my favorites in that show.
He was great. They gave him a lot of screen time, and I was appreciative for it every time he came up. I was like, oh yeah, this is fucking awesome, dude. So that is the end of my list, and I will get yours up and going and try. Do you want me to click through? Or do you want to click through?
Oh, I'll click there.
Okay. Basically, just anywhere on
Alright.
that screen, and you'll be all right.
All right. I did a few fake slides to keep it. So first off, we're gonna have Roland,
Yeah. Ooh, I like that.
played by.
The internet slutty daddy.
Wait. Oh, it's not going.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Wait. What's this? Oh, it's a video.
Yeah, I
What's
put
that
a
say?
video in here.
Oh no.
It was one of the many thirst traps that were going around on one of the fan cams going around on TikTok of Pedro. So Pedro is my choice for Roland as well.
That's great.
Darn it. Oh well.
Oh, yeah.
Next, I don't remember who I put next, and none of the rest of them have animation, so I'll just jump right into it.
Okay.
Jake. So
Diesel La Taraka.
yeah, I was struggling with this one as well.
Okay.
But Anna has been watching this show, Ginny and Georgia on Netflix, and he is like the main character's son,
Okay.
and I really like him in there.
Okay.
He's pretty good for a kid actor, and like he does have some dark moments in that show.
Okay.
And I haven't seen La Brea, but I did hear about it a long time ago, and it's still going. And he's one of the he's a very prominent character in there as well,
Okay.
according to IMDb.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, I like this kid. And so I was just like, I'm not gonna Google child actors. So
It felt so
it felt so
strange,
weird.
dude. I was like, you type in like child actors, it'll give you like fucking Neil Patrick Harris. I'm like, he's not a child anymore. He was a child actor.
Currently child actors.
Yes.
All right, next I've got Eddie. I picked
Ooh.
Ludi Lin from
Ooh, okay.
he played Zach the Black Ranger
Hey, Liu
in
Kang.
the new Power Rangers, and
Yeah.
Liu Kang.
Yeah.
He's both those characters like had some good goofy moments.
Yeah.
And serious like Zach Power Rangers, they gave him like a whole like kind of tragic backstory and stuff, and like like you know dealing with like his sick mom and everything, and so I don't know, I really like this guy.
Okay, for sure.
And looking at his IMDb page when I was coming up with bullet points, there's some stuff in there that he's working on that I want to go see now. For the most part with these people, I only put stuff I've already seen.
Yeah.
Unless I can only find like one or two.
Yeah, I gotcha. That's good to put him on there. Yeah. Deborah?
Susanna. I got Deborah Irende.
Okay.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Cannon's Luke Cage. Okay.
of these, I watched them,
Okay.
which is a horror show that was also on Amazon.
Mhm.
She was like the wife of the main character, and she's awesome. She is great in that. She was my first thought whenever we talked about doing a fan casting.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, I can't even remember like why right off the top of my head, but like just immediate. She was the first person I thought of over any other characters.
Okay. Yeah. I can see if she's a good actress. I remember Luke Cage a little bit, but I don't remember a whole bunch about it. You know?
I hadn't checked it out because people said it was bad, and
I don't remember it being great.
Yeah.
So.
And so, but yeah, I put that just because. And then next we have Oi. I put Tim Robinson.
Tim Robinson. Oh my gosh.
And I'd stretch that picture out because hell yeah. But I fucking love this dude, and like a lot of his sketches, he does a really growly voice.
Okay.
And I was like, that could be perfect for Oi. It'd be really funny. I think with how funny he is, it might be kind of a waste of talent.
Yeah.
But I would love to see it.
Okay.
And he played Ugly Sonic in Chippendale. That's fantastic. For young Roland.
Ooh, I forgot to do young Roland, didn't I? Damn.
I did Zolo. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Mariduena.
Yeah.
This is another one I really struggled with because I was like, I don't know teenage actors either.
Yeah.
So I just I went off based off people that like I was like they could look like a young Pedro.
I can see that.
And this guy is one of the main characters in Cobra Kai. I saw some people online saying like he's basically the main teenager of that show.
Okay.
And I watched. There's this YouTube video that kind of took like all of his scenes from like season 4 or 5 and cut them together. And so I watched that for about like 20 minutes or so, and I was like, he's great on there. So, and then I put upcoming Jamie Reyes Blue Beetle because I fucking love the Blue Beetle.
Okay.
And I'm excited for that movie.
Hell yeah.
For Randall Flagg, I put Christopher Eccleston. He's the ninth Doctor in Doctor Who.
Okay.
Also, 28 Days Later. I thought that was kind of neat since you put someone from there.
That is interesting. Yeah.
And I put him because like even just in the ninth Doctor role, he's able to do like he's both very goofy and silly, but like he is the one like the incarnation, I guess, like right after like the big war or whatever.
Okay.
And so he's kind of called like the PTSD doctor, like the angry doctor.
Gotcha.
And so I think he could really jump back and forth between like being sinister and being silly.
Yeah.
He's kind of got like a good sinister look to him.
Oh, for sure. That picture on the left, I'm really a fan of.
Yeah, I was like, both pictures I could find that I really wanted to use were skinny, so I'm just gonna put them both on there.
Hell yeah.
And then I had another Randall Flagg choice because I couldn't decide.
Oh, Walton Goggins. Okay.
I love Walton Goggins.
Okay.
And I was like,
God, yeah, him and Django and the Hateful Eight, and even, yeah, wow, okay.
I was like, he is also
God,
super funny.
Fucking animated as shit. He'd be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that a lot.
I couldn't decide between which of those two that I liked the best.
Yeah.
But I was like, these are both super solid choices.
Wow. Yeah. That's a good one.
And then I think this is my last slide. No, okay, I got to follow Callahan. Joe Sandro, yeah. He was mostly active in like the '70s, like early
Okay.
'70s.
Okay.
A lot of like the Trash Flesh and Blood for Dracula, those were all like Andy Warhol films. So he like
Mm-hmm.
he worked with Andy Warhol on a lot of movies.
Oh yeah.
And I actually picked his. This is the guy I cast last because I originally had someone younger until I remembered how old he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But also he's also bisexual and like he's very open
okay.
about that. So that's one thing I thought was kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
I guess he was kind of like a underground indie like sex symbol in the '70s even too.
That's awesome. That's cool.
And he now he's mostly retired. I think like the last thing he was really in was like 2008. He did a cameo in a movie last year, but his IMDb page went like 2008, 2022.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
He like runs a hotel now or something.
Okay.
But I've seen a couple of those Warhol films. I don't really remember a lot about them, but when I was trying to look for older actors, I saw a picture of him and I was like, oh shit, that guy.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think he'd be really cool.
That's badass.
And then last one that I have here is someone that you didn't have on yours, and he wouldn't be there for the entire show. You know, he'd only be there for. He's only in, I guess technically 2 books.
Yeah.
Blaine the Mono.
Oh, Will Sasso would be great for Blaine the Mono.
Right?
He would be amazing for Blaine the Mono.
Yeah, I was like,
oh
I want a goofy fucker who
Yes.
because Blaine likes to do celebrity impressions,
and he does pretty good celebrity impressions.
That's his whole deal almost.
Holy sh! You think like him and Frank Caliendo in the same room? Who they picking?
But I want them to pick Will Sasso.
I would too,
Yeah.
honestly, because Frank Caliendo, he's great, but Will Sasso is like underrated part of Mad TV, underrated part of anything he's ever been in.
Seriously, he definitely does not get as much like respect as he deserves. One of my like he I don't think he still does it or not, but they used to do like the 10-minute podcast.
Yeah.
One of the episodes of that is like my favorite podcast episode of anything of all time.
Oh yeah.
It's this one called like Hard Rock, Classic Rock.
Yeah.
And it's fucking hilarious. He starts the episode saying to like one of the other hosts, he's like, "Oh, hey, so what have you been listening to lately?"
Yeah.
The guy's like, "Oh, just a little hard rock, a little classic rock."
Yeah.
And then he goes to the next one. He's like, "What about you?" And like they just kind of there's like 3 of them, and they just kind of go in a circle asking each other what they listen to, and it's all some variation of like, "Oh yeah, I've been listening to some hard rock, some classic rock," and it just goes on for like 10 whole minutes.
Just them asking what kind of music
Yeah,
they listen
and
to.
giving the exact same answer, but just in slightly different ways, and it's so fucking funny.
That's
There was there's an episode of Hearts Against Balance I was doing where Roma and I ahead of time had planned out doing that to the other people in our call.
Yeah.
And
that's hilarious.
they were like, "What the fuck is going on?" we just kept asking each other back and forth. But yeah, so that is
oh my god,
that is my entire list.
That's awesome. I think you had some really good ones on there, especially like Will Sasso. I love that, and who doesn't love Pedro Pascal, right?
Right.
Like if that happens, I am all in on Flanagan. Everything like this could finally actually be something. I wanted to bring up something that I always seem to find. I don't know how far you are in your Sunny journey, but
mid-season 5.
Mid-season 5. How is Mr. Rickety Cricket doing?
I think last we saw him was at the end of season 4 when they were doing like the like dance marathon.
Okay.
And he had like the metal braces on his legs.
So this might be a little spoilery, but it goes worse for him.
I'm sure.
On.
I couldn't imagine anything different.
That people always, I've seen people online saying that they see Father Callahan in
Oh no!
Rickety Cricket, and the picture.
Jesus Christ!
It goes worse for him. I'm just saying.
That dude looks like a fucking.
He's like a monster.
I was gonna say he looks like one of the ghouls from Fallout.
Yeah, the ghouls. Yeah, it's real bad. If this, we're not even on camera, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, Rickety Cricket from Always Sunny is a fan choice.
That would be hilarious. I don't know if it's the right choice, but it would be a funny one.
It's not. It's just we didn't have the connection there, and that's all we need. So, yeah, I guess we get the camera back on us, even though Will Sasso is He's a good looking guy too. Boy. Here.
Oh.
Bam.
There we go.
Remembered how to do it. All right. So yeah, I think that we might even like venture into. We can revisit a fan casting if we have somebody else that comes into mind for
Okay, that would be
anything
fun.
else. Yeah, it's just it's a fun thing to think about, you know.
Yeah.
Do you have any like off the wall like no this wouldn't work but it would be funny to mention? Just, like on the same tone of Justin Roiland playing away.
No, I didn't think like that. I had a few other characters that I was going to originally try to cast.
Yes.
But then I just couldn't really think of anybody for him. Like I had Rhea written down.
Yes.
Because I thought that would be very interesting.
Have you seen The Hateful Eight?
I have not actually.
Well, it has Kang with Jonathan Majors. That's his name.
I have no idea.
Okay, yeah, I think it's Jonathan Majors, the guy that's playing Kang, or he who remains in the Loki series. He's really good in The Hateful Eight. It's a western, but it's all African American characters. And I was like, man, he needs to be in this show somewhere if possible.
That would be awesome.
I just didn't know where to put him because I didn't need him to be. He seems like not the right type for like an Eddie. Like if it was Jonathan Majors and Pedro Pascal in a room, I'm taking Pedro Pascal for Roland. But if not, I think that he also might be. He has Disney money now. I mean, so does Pascal though with Mandalorian.
Yeah,
but he's not an Avenger.
Yeah,
you know, he's not on that level, so it might be harder to get him for something like this. But it'd be great. What about Jonas from last book? I think that a bad guy Jonas would be just who they had was Yondu.
Yeah.
That's who they had in the original pilot for Amazon. That was Jonas.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love that dude.
Yes. I forget his name.
Michael something.
Michael Roker or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's his name. And yeah, I was like, oh, this would be. And they had somebody, it was God, another one from Game of Thrones, one of the Jamie's like right-hand man that trains him to fight with after he loses his hand.
Oh, the mercenary guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of his name either, but I know who you're talking about.
Bran? No, not Bran. Bran's the fucking. Oh, he's the king of Westeros.
Sure is. And it makes sense.
Oh, it makes
so much sense.
Don't think about it. Jesus Christ, what a fucking shitty show. But yeah, man, I think we've done it.
I think so.
I think we're good.
That's an episode.
Yeah, I had a good time with the fan cast. I think throwing something like this in there, even if we're like one of these days we're gonna finish this series and whatever. If you still want to do something, I'm down. Doesn't have to be even King related or anything like that. I think doing something like that would just be.
Yeah.
We already added a little structure. Now we're adding a little flair and spice instead of just kind of us reading the book and giving our own reactions to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes it a lot more funner. But if y'all made it all the way through, thank you. Go ahead and like, subscribe. If you are not already, join the Discord. You want to chat with us directly. I don't know. I don't check him much, so maybe chat with him directly. But he'll let me know if y'all get on there. All right?
Yeah, for sure.
Shit. How do we sign out? I don't fucking even know. Stay off of social media. World sucks. Let's be better.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, y'all.